signature glass of chocolate milk. Pint-sized, no less. There ain't many better ways to spend a Sunday, that's for sure. How we doing, people? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everyone's had a smashing weekend. We are back. We're back and we are cooking. We are cooking. Plenty of football on show, even though technically I missed out 90% of all the football yesterday as I was working, which sucks with the timing of it all. But at the same time, there's been plenty of bits and pieces to dissect from the weekend's games thus far. It's not quite done. We've got one hurdle left to cover, and it is the biggest hurdle of them all. It is Manchester United hosting Wolverhampton Wanderers on a Monday night. Boy, and boy, and boy. It's going to be an interesting one. Good evening, Hot Fuzz. And the trademark chocolate milkshake is not chocolate milkshake. It is just Alpro Soya. Just long life cartoned Alpro Soya. 2-litre cartons, pint glass. Cover 2 pint glasses in a day, but I only do one, so. Because otherwise then it is just too much. But big ups to you, early doors. Good to see you. Hope your weekend has been splendid. So basically, it's just a chilled evening chat, just a chilled late night evening chat, last thing Sunday, just to basically cap off the weekend before the new week starts. And we're just going to run down all the games, basically. We're just going to have a little chilled chat, just dissect the proceedings of the just dissect the proceedings of each and every game. Obviously, from a United fan's perspective, it's pretty much the entirety of this stream is majority just rival watch. But, as a football lover, you appreciate all teams playing football and the spills and thrills that football does give us all, and its chocolate flavor. It is. I've got normal Alpro Soya as well. Normal Alpro Soya, not the unsweetened stuff, the stuff that you literally just stick in as dairy milk alternatives. It's really nice, especially for people who are, say, dairy intolerant, lactose intolerant, soya, plant-based milk. I mean, it's all good. It's all good. I'll have some of that stuff in my morning cereals. It's all good. Appreciate the game, 100%. Yeah, appreciate the games. Appreciate that Premier League football is back. Oh, to some people, it's the perfect escape. The perfect escape from reality. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting. Sweetened. You answered it. Yeah, I do have a bit of a sweet tooth, to be fair. A very, very sweet tooth. Then again, I've improved on my dietary choices. I say that after consuming a Domino's pizza, not 2 hours, 3 hours ago. So it is what it is. A cheat day. We'll call it cheat day. Sunday's just cheat day. There wasn't any Sunday roasts today, so unfortunately couldn't do the traditional, the good old classics. But unfortunately, not the end of the world. I mean, it's all right having a Domino's pizza on a Sunday night. Some people might absolutely despise Domino's. Some people prefer others, like Papa John's or something. Long-haired Yeti is some sup Bumberclot. Good to see you, Yeti. Hope things are splendid with you. Smashing show post Arsenal Nottingham Forest game, by the way. Big ups to you. It felt, I don't know why, seeing you on there just felt like you're part of that stable panel that's been there for like the longest time, even though technically that was your first show on that channel. It felt weird, but it was great at the same time. But yeah, fantastic show, Yeti. So big ups to you, man. I suppose it might be my turn or somebody else's turn when it comes to Arsenal hosting Manchester United in 2 match weekdays time. So could be interesting. There's some explosive fireworks settings, perhaps. Thanks for that major compliment. I can make it even more major by just adding more descriptive words. Just turn it into an entire sentence words, just compliments on end. It was a good show. I was out, but felt like sitting in Yeti's room watching the game. Yeah, man. I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't a game that I could watch. It wasn't a game I could watch at all. I was busy working. I was busting my ass in retail, which is there's many different things you could do that are way more entertaining than that, such as watching football. Tony Ibarra, good to see you. What are we drinking? We're drinking chocolate milk. A pint glass of Outpost Sawyer's chocolate milk. Like to do a joint watch along with you guys when we play each other. Absolutely. I have to check to see what day the Nottingham Forest game is on, and then I should be able to do a watch along stream for that game. So you will most certainly be invited onto the channel if you'd like to do it there, or if you prefer to do it on your channel, it's up to you. I've got no problems with either. No problems whatsoever. You are very much welcome. Actually, like to do a joint. Just do a joint watch along, guys. The best blunt that one can roll gets to host a watch along. So that standard when those games come along. 100% no. Just try and multicast it on both channels. Do it across multiple platforms as well, so we get outreach on the Instagrams and the Facebooks and the Twitters. Just spread it everywhere, so there's loads of absolute stoneheads that start tuning in. They have no idea what's going on. All they know is just a couple of football fanatics are just at it, rolling blunts. This comes from someone who's never ever smoked anything in his life ever. So it's funny that I talk about it in such a manner. But yes, I guess in terms of talking about them games, we start Friday night's game, Burnley, Vincent Kompany against his old club, Manchester City, back in his heydays. But it's a treble winning Pep Guardiola's winning machine that came to town up north and stomped them, and arguably in third gear. I'd say if it was full speed Manchester City, it could have been more of a blowout, like a 4-5, maybe even 6-0 kind of game. We saw a blowout at the Etihad last year in the FA Cup game, where Manchester City pummeled Vincent Kompany's Championship Burnley 6-1. But this time around, perhaps you say, well, it's an improvement. It's a bit like the Manchester City versus Middlesbrough. They go from the what is it, Abu Dhabi money, turns an 8-1 result into a 2-0 result. An 8-1 loss to a 2-0 loss. It's progress, guys. We're lowering the losing deficit. So I suppose stream on Pornhub. Do you know what? I've actually had people that I used to game with that recorded games and uploaded it onto Pornhub. They the video stayed up for a decent time, a decent amount of time, got views and everything, and got likes until Pornhub actually ended up removing those videos because it wasn't actually pornographic content. I think the longest one a video was uploaded on there for that wasn't porn was actually for a week or so, week, 2 weeks thereabouts. It was actually quite funny. Good weekend, some great games, and footy is back 100%, man. If the feel good factor, the feel good vibes are back, man. But man, Erling Haaland has resumed his goal scoring duties. Kevin De Bruyne went off injured in that game, so injuries starting quite early in the season. Some key injuries, you could say. I mean, they're sub on Kovacic, and he sees out. He does a good job. He's not asked to do God's work. He's just asked to do a simple, just fill out your role on the pitch and happy days. We're all singing and dancing, and he did just that. Rodri, putting in the third goal. Then the rest of the subs came late, 80th minute onwards, just to see out the game. And that's exactly what happened. And an unnecessary red card from the Burnley player, Zaroui, I think his name is, basically just catching Kyle Walker on the back of his leg. It just studs up, like the players passed him, and everyone knows Kyle Walker's he's got pace to burn for days, and literally just out of nowhere, he's passed me, but I'm going to stick my foot out and stick my studs into the back of this guy's leg for no apparent reason whatsoever. It's like the challenge you've already lost, but you just still decide, actually, I've lost this challenge, but I'm going to make it anyway. So Manchester City starting strong, but what we thought was just going to be, well, look, Manchester City, probably the biggest, most comfortable win we see until obviously Arsenal kick off against Nottingham Forest. So we had probably quite no doubt. I think a lot of people already conceded the title once the final whistle blew in that game. Me personally, I probably think the same. I think, might as well just concede the title, because if, Burnley, usually a tough ground to go away to. And I'll tell you what, it's one of those things that I just, for some reason, feel like every other club that goes away to Burnley is going to struggle there, but Manchester City make it just look so easy. They make tougher games look way, way easier than every other club would actually do. Only does if only Antonio dives in onto that header of Soucek. Evening, you mad bastards. Carl Rossi, good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well on the Sunday evening. Hope life is treating you well. Well, United got fucked a lot back then, so it should have been fine. Oh, man. Smash the likes, 100%. If you are joining into the stream, if you are tuning in, make sure you are smashing that like. It is completely free to do. Show us your generosity. Show us your generous side, people. Even if you're never going to tune in here again, just a little, you're being a journeyman currently on the rabbit hole journey throughout the realms of YouTube, you're probably going to end up finishing this journey on a Minecraft video from 2008 or something. That's probably where you're going to end your rabbit hole journey through YouTube. But if you are stopping off here on the way to said Minecraft video, do be sure to smash that like whilst you're on the way out. But big ups to everybody that does like the streams and that does subscribe. I've noticed this keen eye noticed that we were on 75 subs, but somebody had the absolute nerve to go and unsub from this channel. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable settings, I tell you. Crazy stuff. But we have lost a sub, but it is what it is. It is what it is. We move. Big up, Mr. Rossi. I second that. Mama Flossie, evening, gents. Good to see you. I am sure, Mama Flossie, you are absolutely thrilled with this weekend, with your very, very astounding victory against Aston Villa. One that I predicted would have been a 3-1 win to you guys, and it would be a much closer affair, more finer margins as such. But, the first half was a bit more competitive. The second half had shades of Manchester United at Anfield. They just couldn't stop conceding, and it really felt like there was that many chances. I mean, there could have been another 7-1, 8-1 scoreline, because there was probably 2-3 chances that were very clear cut that you felt got quite wasted there. So but nonetheless, I mean, 5-1 against Aston Villa on your opening weekend. Oof, you don't get much better than that. You really, really don't. Um, but that will massively boost your case, because I think there's quite a lot of people that think, oh well, Champions League, let's write Newcastle off. They will flop. They'll flop this season compared to last. That was just them overachieving. But you know, who knows? I think perhaps Newcastle's actually here to stay. So very, very interesting. It was an entertaining game to watch from my perspective. But then I remembered, well, would Man United have got to come here and not have the same happen to them? So as much as I enjoy watching Aston Villa get pummeled, it's not going to be very enjoyable when we go there. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same story for a lot of teams in the Premier League. Arsenal fans, I'm sure you'll probably be feeling the same. Um, who else? Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, perhaps. Uh, Tottenham, my word, Tottenham. I mean, as open as those guys are at the back, they go to a ground like Newcastle, they are going to ship mad goals. I tell you. At last, I have peace. Yes. Here to the bloody hell. Good to see everyone in here, though, man. I need to peace myself. BRB. See you in a momento. Yeti, Flossie, Rossi, Tony. Got the crew in here. Got the gang. Got the gang in this building. Good to see everybody. Grant has also gone home, hubby in bed, and dogs are asleep, thank the Lord. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Tony! Hot Fuzz, it happens. I've had it happen to me, and I know just a few others have had subs drop off. I think it's a YouTube thing. To be fair, though, it might just be the case where before I started uploading football content on this channel, that I actually had a few subs from other backgrounds, from people that had different interests. So it's probably those people actually realizing they're still subbed to me, finding out what's going on my channel, and realizing, oh shit, I don't like this content, and then they just go on unsub. So it's probably those the stragglers, if you will, that still know me from previous backgrounds as such. So they're probably finding out that is all football stuff, and they're like, nah, none of that. £1,000 and I will find and kill the unsubscriber if you want. Say how you want it done, and that is extra fee. Oof, oh, of all the things that I could imagine having done to that subscriber, that the unsubscriber. It's a bit like Jez. It's the missing like 50 subs or something, that for some reason no one seemed to be subbing to his channel for some reason, which is crazy stuff. Why would nobody sub to Jez? Like, it's ridiculous. Go sub to Jez. Arsenal, the history, and more. Man is a walking encyclopedia page of Arsenal knowledge. Man could tell you 1,000 stories that the history books that you can pick up in a library couldn't tell you for jack. Like, seriously, it's priceless knowledge that guy has on Arsenal Football Club. Same thing with guys like Kenny and even Lee Gunner. People with astute backgrounds, and a long history, a long winding history with their football clubs. The amount that football fans that have gone for years and years and years, the knowledge that they pick up on football clubs is second to none. And I think there's no internet research realistically that can actually cover half the stuff that people know that go to that have been to games for decades at a time. Of course, I am. So much for us not doing anything. Eat that, doubters. Yeah, 100%. I mean, Newcastle, that midfield looks mad competitive. Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Joel Linton. You've got some other guys that can come on in their place. I feel like saying Sean Longstaff is that makes that just straight away like degrades your midfield a fair few levels. It knocks it down a few levels. I'm trying to think of other players that you've got that play in your midfield that are actually like genuinely proper quality players. I think also Eddie Howe wants another signing as well. So just for the sake of extra depth. So that should be interesting to see what the choice of signing that extra man is going to be. Um, it was called Sheer Bliss. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'll big up Tony. Yeah, Liverpool was one of them. Mama saying you won't do anything. Um, I'll tell you what with Liverpool, because I was going to do a watch long on here for that game, but I just thought. But then I fancied incorporating a bit of a preview for the Wolves game on Monday. So I thought, well, I enjoy doing these sort of relaxed chats because it's like you don't have to do like a news anchor style presentation for like talking points. It's just like you just relax and chill out and just absolutely just go off on a whim. Um, and to be fair, watching that game, I was like, there's a lot of people that were very confident in Liverpool's case and very confident in Chelsea's case. Chelsea played a whole heck of a lot better than I was expecting. A whole hell of a lot better than I was expecting. I was thinking that this team will be slow to get off the marks. It'll probably be about 5, 6 games before you really see a Chelsea side really piecing together proper solid performances, or anything sort of at that sort of level. Fair plays to them, going up against a high pressing Jurgen Klopp system that, goes quite direct. I thought Liverpool, that midfield looked a little bit susceptible. Um, I thought the front three lost the ball quite easily in a few key areas. I thought they're, shooting, they didn't really create an awful lot of chances, to be fair. They didn't create an awful lot. I thought their defence was actually somewhat okay from time to time, but then in other moments in the game, it's like the long ball or the cutting edge pass was too easy. Like it was just straight through the lines, no real competition there. And you know what? I think 1-1 is probably a fairish scoreline for that game. Fairish scoreline. Um, I was thinking that would have been like a 2-2 sort of game. It could have been 2-2, but VAR intervened with two somewhat close offsides, so I wasn't far off. I mean, I got the prediction on the outcome correct. Shared points and all right. So I got that prediction correct. Um, but yeah, I think it, as far as a draw goes, it wasn't as say boring or dull to watch as perhaps some people might have looked at it on the surface and thought, "Oh, damn, yeah." But then again, Chelsea and Liverpool have been drawing games for the longest time. I think it's like the past 7 games now. They've just drawn 7 to 8 games on the bounce. Like, it's crazy. I never said that, Bessie. I don't even have content. I have 10 subs. I'll tell you what's interesting is those channels out there on YouTube, right, that have literally called themselves 100k subscriber no videos challenge, and the people actually click on those channels and subscribe to them. These people are getting monetization because of the way they've named their channel. Imagine that. More subs than most channels out there by just naming it a subscriber no content challenge. We've been missing out. We're getting it wrong. I don't even have to do a live stream. I just got to change the name of my channel. Just go 1 million subscribers, no content, no videos challenge. Watch my subscriber count skyrocket, and then get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm quite satisfied with that. Then start making legitimate content on that channel, and hey, presto, I'm monetized. Well, I'd say it's monetized. It'd probably be quite difficult because my watch time would be about 0 hours. But then again, it might be a cheat code. You need 3,000 hours on your watch time for your videos to get monetization, or to get one of the checklists for monetization. Get a ridiculous amount of subscribers, right? upload one video about 10 minutes long, hundreds of people will be watching that. Thousands of people will be watching it. YouTube is moving weird. Mate, YouTube's been weird for the longest time. They'll hot fuzz if they want to unsub. 100%. They don't get to digest this impeccable content, but more importantly, they don't get to partake in a super cool community. And it is a super cool community. Like the people in this chat, this little community here is super cool, super cool. Love every second of it. I gained a sub. They must have left you and come to me. So the hits. Oh mate, it's it's like players going to Saudi Arabia. They follow where the money is. Do you pay subscribers a weekly salary? You offer higher salaries than me, Yeti. That's why they move for the money. They get a transfer. They unsub from one channel. They go to another. Imagine that. The most valuable subscriber in the world, right? The one guy that commands a fee for everybody, right? That he subs to. That if you want that one subscriber, the most valuable subscriber in the world, you give him a wage. And so everyone starts paying him more for him to just bounce between channels and subscribe to that each individual one channel. And that YouTube highlights which channel it is that guy's subscribed to. So everyone's just like, they are the king of YouTube, the king or the queen of YouTube. YouTube remove bots all the time. It could be that. Possibly. I mean, based off of, well, then again, there has been quite a few strange cases. I think there's one person who came in one time, dropped one chat, and it's just like, we should collaborate together. That was it. They left the chat instantly and then unsubscribed. I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Yeah, do what you want to do. Bit of a weird one. But even then, Mama Flossie, I think there's quite a few people, right, that are just NPC bot-like behaviors. So that's just how they normally function. 2 was class last night, but Villa will also be a test. They look good. I think first half especially, they did look quite good in the first half of that game. I think they've got some qualities quality players in the team, and I think Unai Emery will work good performances into them. I think it's just going to take a little bit of time for them to sort of get up to speed, and I think it's no good feat to start your season off losing 5-1 on your opening game, home or away. I think it's not going to do them any favours, and I think they might look a little bit shaky, especially defensively in their next game. So do you do talking points? I better look into that. I just talk general shit. With the transfer videos that I do have like a little notepad document that I stick on my second monitor that has basically the basic rundowns as to what bits I want to talk about at each individual time. I'll either do that on a stream. Otherwise, the easiest thing really to do for each individual talking point is just a unique separate upload for each each individual point. So I think there was one point I had like 5 uploads in one single day, like 5 videos uploaded in a single day, just talking about individual topics. But I thought, because that's not really the way to get content noticed most, I thought if you do shorter videos for a lesser known channel, people go, okay, well, that's like 2-3 minutes long. I'm much more likely to tune into a 2-3 minute video for someone I don't watch, rather than being someone that's dedicated to a channel that sits there and watches about 10-12 minutes straight on someone's video. I think because there's a lot of times where you get people who will, even if they're subscribed, click on a video, watch the first minute, and then they just go and start clicking on others, clicking on other videos. I think it just happens to everyone. That's just literally attention span. I think as most people are just, the dial is switched up. They want to keep consuming fresh content or stuff that looks more interesting than what they're looking at currently. It's just a human It's just a point of human nature, I guess. Um, totally agree, Etty, but don't forget Brighton. They played very well. Yeah, Brighton played pretty well actually. They did. What was their score? I think it was 4-1 against Luton. Um, let's quickly cover the Arsenal game. I see the superfan channel. There's a lot of people that are actually really pleased with that. They say, "Well, look, 3 points, fantastic in the bag and everything." I'm like, you just played one of the easiest home games. No, like, no offense, Yeti, but you just played one of the easiest home games of all season. Your whole season, one of the easiest home games, up there, top three easiest home games. Nottingham Forest at home should be one of the three easiest home games to play, and you absolutely Arsenal absolutely made a meal out of it. Made a meal out of it. Like, dude, I was looking at that game. I checked up on the stat side of it, and I saw the stats on it. I was like, well, Jesus Christ! Like, Nottingham Forest look like they're not able to lay a single glove. I mean, next to no possession, no shots, no attempts, no nothing. Barely even 100 passes at half time. I was just like, well, damn, 2-0. That's by the looks of things, that could be 3-4-5-0. Then it gets to the second half. I'm like, well, I predicted this game to be a 3-0. I reckoned it would be about a 3-0. What I wasn't expecting was that the game to end, because what I was doing is I was just, I'm busy working. The next time I'll take a 5-minute break or something, or I get a split second to pull aside just to get a quick update on things. I see the game finish 2-1. I'm like, what? What? What do you, what? I mean, that's crazy. 2-1. It looked like from the stats pages and everything that Nottingham Forest went from not being able to lay a glove on Arsenal to probably ending the game with a late flurry that they could have actually rescued even a point from. They could have rescued a point from that. And I think that some people might want to call it fine margins. I know some people are saying that we've got we're fortunate to not completely lose complete total control of the game. But the fact is that 2-0 up, and people say, well, we're comfortable at 2-0. Why would you be comfortable? I mean, is it not stated that 2-0 can be a dangerous scoreline? I mean, that saying has, meaning to it. It does. Because you get 2-0, you think, oh, straight away, cushion. Sit back, relax. No, like, when you hit 2-0, that's when the confidence or the lack of confidence or the shaky nature of a game, if there is any, just goes, right? You are comfortable, but you're in control, and you're playing to score a third, to score a fourth, to score a fifth. Like, you keep piling on that pressure, but you've got the confidence factor there where it's like, well, if someone has an absolute calamity, right, but you're pressing for a third goal, someone has an absolute calamity, if they score and make it 2-1, you're still leading, you're still winning the game. So then the manager can make it more practical. They can move some things around and shore things up and, try and compensate. But you know what? I think Arsenal, look, some fantastic performances for some players, individual players. Obviously, Martinelli looked good. Bukayo Saka, fantastic goal scored there. Obviously, Nketiah got a. I joked with Jez that perhaps if you lend Eddie Nketiah a tenner, he can top up his phone credit and actually score a couple goals. Well, I guess somebody loaned him a fiver to get himself to bag himself a goal. But aside from that, I mean, Thomas Partey playing at right back made no sense to me. Unless what Arteta had in mind was like what Manchester City did with John Stones, even though John Stones is a defender, not a midfielder. So it was a defender moving into midfield rather than a midfielder moving into midfield. I mean, yeah, that's a bit baffling myself. Yeah, from my viewpoints, and I think again it's Arteta, tinkering with things. Interesting to see where Kieran Tierney just doesn't get picked at all. Like, no sign of any game time whatsoever. The guy's frozen out. I'll tell you what, Yuri and Timber. I know a lot of people really rate Ben White at right back, right? So Yuri and Timber does well playing at left back. He's also used to playing at right back, right? He has played for Ajax at right back. Um, so it's an interesting thing. I probably would have said, well, look, you want two strong fullbacks, go Kieran Tierney on the left, Yuri Timber on the right, got William Saliba on the right side at centre back position, and then Gabriel Magalhaes on the left side at centre back position. That's a strong back line. That is a very strong back line. Very strong back line. Yeah, solid, like defensively solid. But I'm not the manager. The manager sees something apparently that I can't see. Therefore, I shall F myself off down the lane because I can't see what Arteta's doing. I can't see what Arteta's doing. Like, seriously, like, I don't understand the thought process behind that style of lineup. It's like Kai Havertz playing for, you know, the most of the game. I'm like, but you could have moved Thomas Partey up into midfield and brought on a more natural right back. You could contribute much more of a controlling presence into a more key area of the pitch rather than revoking some of that control. Because once Pace got on to Nottingham Forest, man, problems left, right, and centre. And I'll tell you what, a home game at the Emirates, first game of the season, there's no pressure, guys, no pressure. So we went from bottling a title, like a 15-point swing thereabouts, to the point of actually conceding the title. So you had that point swing happen. Then what happened was, you said, well, that happened. We dropped performances, we dropped levels there because we were nervous, we were afraid. We didn't have the right mentality for it. So mentality monsters was a lie. Mentality monsters was a lie. But you hit the big reset button over across the summer, right? You hit the big reset button across the summer. You should be raring to go again. Plus, with new recruits, they had a performance that I think, in reflection, I am thinking that's probably close to what I was imagining or predicting Arsenal would do. You're not this scintillating team you were last season. You will have some great games. You'll have some great performances, but you ain't gonna have this control. You ain't gonna have this fast start, score within the first 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and just absolutely batter teams pillar to post, right? You're not going to have this same effect on games because the Tinker Man is coming back to haunt you again, right? He's coming back to haunt you. You'd think that he'd take what he knows based off of last season and that he's going to one or two things switched around to make sure you don't face a collapse again. You've got some players to, rotate a little bit, only when it's most necessary and most sensible to do so, and not costing you games or anything. Like it was a baffling sight to behold, especially with that lineup moving into the proceedings of the game. It's just so many baffling things, stage by stage by stage. I'll tell you what, guys, that for the top gooners out there that fully believe in this phase system, if people are saying, well, look, we're in phase 3 of a 5-phase program or something, guess what? I think you probably you stumbled a couple steps back and you're teetering on the edge of phase 2 again. So you better be careful if you're going through a phase here, that you're not falling back into old territory, that you're not falling back into old news. Look, if you're going to have problems, make sure that they're at least new problems, right? New problems, new troubles, new things to think about. So I think it's Crystal Palace away next for Arsenal. By no means an easy feat, as a home game against Nottingham Forest has proven. It's not going to be an easy feat. The same fire and intensity, the 90-minute performances that get people thinking, oh, we're on the title charge. if they don't have this 90-minute shebang going on at Selhurst Park, I'll tell you what, there's going to be more problems. There's going to be more problems at Selhurst Park. So Arsenal, you've got a lot of work to do between now and next. I think it's Monday that they play. I'm pretty sure it is Monday. I think it's Crystal Palace that they play next on Monday night. Yes, Monday nights on the 21st. And then I'll have Fulham straight after that. So yeah, there's a lot of work for Arsenal to do. I think as far as Nottingham Forest are concerned, I think the first half was a bit of concern. You want to work on that. You want to make sure that you don't have slow starts to your games, but most importantly, that when you do try to contain pressure or soak up pressure, that you're not conceding or shipping goals in the process. And I think the fact that it was only 2 goals despite that much of a battering in the first half tells me that something was going right for Nottingham Forest despite all beliefs. Something must have been going right in the defensive element of that game to keep the scoreline at 2-0 despite all of that pressure and all of those, lopsidedness of the first half. But yeah, Arsenal, I think, fortunate to various extents, but I think, the first half, I think, was enough work to just about see out that performance. But if anything, it's like Tottenham Hotspur could tell you, 45-minute FC is not going to cut it in the Premier League. Trust me, it's not. I'm just going to read through a couple more comments here before we jump on to the early doors team. West Ham faced an away trip to, I think it was Bournemouth. Yes, they had an away trip to Bournemouth. Bit of an unlucky game, that one there. So just going to go through a couple of comments here. Be diverse, Yeti, no harm talking shit, but some bullet points help as well. I serve the bullets for people I'm talking about, yeah. Just make sure that you're not handing out stray bullets like some people like to do when they go on rambling rants or something. I know Liverpool fans said, not talking about Toon, they won't do anything. Oh. I bought all mine on eBay. I've done a short and it's over 6 seconds long and it's had 811 views. Shorts is a strange one because I think that is just it just pushes it out way more to people, like your shorts and YouTube shorts and everything, because it just randomly just gets put onto people's shorts feeds. So every time you go and scroll to the next short, your video, even though they're not looking for your content, will just randomly pop up there. So you're much more likely to get more viewership numbers. What sucks is that those viewership numbers don't contribute towards your main channel, like video acumen or accumulation. It doesn't account to it. So I think you need like 30 million. I'm not joking. I think it was about 30 million views on your YouTube shorts to get monetized off of your YouTube shorts. Like that's the barrier. That's the boundaries that YouTube have set. That's freaking mental. Even if you create a viral YouTube short, even then, Jesus Christ. Adam Taylor, good to see you. Let us know if there's anything else we can do. To help grow the channel other than liking the quality content. Adam Taylor, big ups to you, man. I'm not really the sort of person to be like what some other content creators do, where they're just like, you go do this, cool, go do that, or they stick an annoying poll in front of everybody's chat, so you almost have to like either vote on the poll or dismiss it just to then like start engaging with chat and everything, even though it's like you'll like the content and everything. Or it's just like sometimes where someone will say, you guys, you're not liking the content. Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, how do you? Like, I'm absolutely chill with whatever people want to do. So it's like if people will like I like to encourage people to like my streams. I do. I like to encourage people, because sometimes people go, oh, have I actually liked the stream? oh no, I forgot to do that, because some people genuinely go into a video, a stream, and they just auto like it every time. Um, so sometimes people might just forget, so you can have a memory jog there. But sometimes people that just go, oh yeah, like it's almost like they act like they're genuinely offended if you don't, if you're not liking the stream or something like that. I mean, I'm not going to be like that. Everybody's going to be unique in their own way as far as content creation is concerned, but I'm not going to be someone who likes to push my viewers to actually go like, no, 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 you grow the channel, guys, grow the channel. We'll do everything organically if we have to, right? Everything that we can do legitimately, organically, we just do everything naturally, right? If that's how we want to do it, but we do it without selling out. Most importantly, right? We'll do it without selling out. So that's the most important thing. And I think just the fact that I've got a community here that now tunes into most of my streams is yeah, absolutely fantastic to me. I absolutely love seeing the fact that I've got a community here now, whereas beforehand I only had like one or two people that would tune in across the space of an hour. Now I've got, like, sometimes I'm sort of touching up 10 viewers, concurrent viewers, at a time, which is, massive, massive, massive stuff. Eventually it might get to a point where I'm at 100 concurrent viewers, and then if we do that, then that's, crazy stuff. That is mental, mental, mental stuff. But seriously, the support that you guys have shown thus far has been absolutely fantastic, and thank you ever so much to each and every person that has done so. Mad, yes. And Taylor, Diaby looks like a baller. He is getting in partnership with going with Watkins. Yeah, I think there's some people that don't rate him. Some people do. Personally, I think for Aston Villa, I think that is a good signing for them. I think it's quite a practical, quite a driven winger, quite direct. Doesn't try to do. I think it's a little bit different to what Leon Bailey is, right? Leon Bailey likes a bit of trickery, right? He likes to take on a man, do this and do that. I think Diaby's just no BS, just straightforwards. He's got pace to burn and he knows it, so he likes to utilize his pace a bit more direct than say what so and so is. What's his name? I just said his name, Leon Bailey. That's it. Um, but yeah, man, Diaby, I think, could have a good goal scoring season this season, especially with Watkins. Get that partnership going. If Leon Bailey plays on the right hand side and he gets gets in on the action, him or Buendia, then have Philippe Coutinho just dropped in behind there. I think that'd be swell. Diaby, great signing for Villa, 100%. That'd be stuff. Click rate, yeah. So basically, you can only last about 1 minute. God damn it, Yeti. God damn it. But to various extents, yes. If you hit solid gold, then yes, you might not last a minute, but my God, it was worth it. Heard it should have been 3-2 to Forest if Johnson put the ball away and VAR officially saw the handball. Interesting that there's a few question marks around refereeing already. We've only had 1 weekend of games and the questions have already started. I think we've got the equaliser, could have gone to win it. Quite possibly, yeah. Momentum has changed. Yeah. And we saw that again in the Community Shield. We saw it. Substitutions happened. Momentum switched. Manchester City got off at holding the game. I think they scored a goal based off of it. And one thing led to another, but they, I think Manchester City again were playing like it was a pre-season friendly, so not really too much care for the game as you do. Has anything come out about Timber? Was it just a knock or something more serious? I think what I had seen is someone said, "Oh, that looked bad. That he could be out for several weeks or something." I don't actually. I haven't actually heard anything on what the injury severity is on Urian Timber. All I know is that he came off, I think, pain steroids or something that he had injected at halftime and was sent back out and then just fell like a sack of potatoes. No idea what that was about. I might know. Scan tomorrow, I think, and if we came back and came back and won. Arteta should have been sacked, mate. I tell you what, people. There's a lot. It's you know what, I think it's quite funny if we have a look at some of the people, right, who really do not want. If we really do not want Arteta to be the manager, it's like they will add to the tally charts, right? They'll add another one. They'll draw another line to the tally charts. Almost lost to Nottingham Forest. When you zoom out, you should see that they've completely caked an entire like 60 by 80-foot wall of just tally charts of all the times Mikel Arteta should have been sacked by Arsenal. But yeah, I think for those guys, it's just a case of just adding more to that tally chart as you go along. Don't think he dare. I wasn't impressed, to be honest. Some of them say about the first half. I thought we held them off well until the 25th minute. Face is set to stun. Yeah. Make it so number one. Another 35 million you get Kai Havertz. I can't believe they spent 65 million on him. Honestly, this market is weird. This market is really weird. The unsolved mysteries that is the football transfer market in 2023. Tony Claude Gunner, drop that like. Big ups to you, man. Welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. Fantastic to see you. Really enjoyed your shows when you had Yeti on with what was his name? Was it Strasbourg? Was it Strasbourg Steve? I think the American bloke who's a Toon lad as well. Can't remember what his name was, but yeah, fantastic show. Entertaining to watch, definitely 100%. Big ups to you too. Big up Tony, bro. Yeah, lovely stuff. Touching up 10 viewers could get you arrested. As long as you guys don't mass report me, we're all good, all right? As long as you don't report me, we'll be fine. Big T, good to see you, man. Hope you are doing well. How's your weekend been? It depends on the viewers, Yeti. Yeah, do you know what? I mean, I'll tell you what. If that superfan channel start talking about touching up viewers, the amount of people that are absolutely hopping in and dropping their locations and everything. It's like, please come touch me. Christ almighty. Can't underestimate, the minds, the instability of their minds, their mindsets. I think Mama Fossey passed out. Flossie, I told you that your game would be a game of the day. I bet you were bouncing. Yeah, I think that was by far Saturday. Yeah, I thought if you started off watching Arsenal, you're just like, oh, the great escape for Arsenal, right? You finished the day with just an absolute slaughter. Bloodbath up in the northeast. Tony. Damn, we've got 3 Tonys in here. We've got 3 Tonys in here. Crazy stuff. I could hear it roar in my garden. It was an awesome game. That's it. You live close enough to the stadium to actually hear the game going on. Crazy stuff. Baby Deliso, good to see you. What about transfer Sofian Amrabat, please? I want to Amrabat and Joao Felix to United is better. Anti Martial out to United. Yeah, I mean Amrabat, we should be getting him quite soon. I mean, there's still a bit of a hold up. There's possibilities that we might actually end up signing Benjamin Pavard before signing Amrabat, even though Amrabat was the priority after Rasmus Højlund. So crazy. I don't really know, but Anthony Martial could potentially leave. If he does, then it obviously will mean that we have to go and get Joao Felix or somebody else. who we can start up front and who's an injury prone. We'll, you know, if we sell Anthony Martial, it does mean we'll have to act more proactively in the markets, 100%. But Amrabat, I think, will definitely come. I know he's got a lot of interest, but apparently the guy's holding out for United, so we should be in the clear with that one. My weekend starts tomorrow. Got beers for the game, absolutely. Doing a watch along. Got work the following morning, so I'll need to make my match reaction a short and sweet, a little bit short and sweet, but I will be doing as much or as close to a watch along as I can do for that game. Because can't miss it for the world. Can't miss it for the world. Ed Jordan's knees and Tony's. Oh my days. Oh my days, Yeti. Oh man. Anyways, back onto the games. So Bournemouth versus West Ham. West Ham took so it's a bit of a ball draw sort of a game, I guess, in the first half. Nothing too much to say in that game for the first half. The second half, Jared Bowen getting the first goal for West Ham, and essentially somewhat just holding on. I think it might have switched to a bit more of a defensive setup. I know he had less possession. I think Bournemouth probably trying to press the issue in the second half. Obviously, before then, about 5 substitutions for Bournemouth probably swayed the game just enough. Once Dominic Solanke scored in the 82nd minute, that's when I think West Ham decided to make their changes to try and perhaps rescue a last grasp point. Don't know what you made of the game early doors. If that, I think it's just a tough luck sort of a thing. We have a game plan that it's all going well until one goal happens, and then it's all just gone. It's all out the window. You have to start it from scratch. Hold on to hope that something falls your way. I think perhaps it's perhaps it's just a case that hold on hope, but one slight half chance moment can just be enough to let the game get away from you. All this talk of Tony's is making me want to eat Frosties. I have not seen a box of Frosties in the longest time. I do not understand. I think man's probably been changed into like old school Frosties. Like I can recognise that Tony the Tiger anywhere, but man's been updated. I think so many times that I just don't recognise these same characters anymore. It's like the Cocoa Pops monkey. I used to recognise that monkey anywhere. The man's just got redraws and everything, and now I don't even know what Cocoa Pops is anymore. Bournemouth just had luck. Came off of Soucek's heel straight into Solanke's path and put it away. So I think it's like one of those dumb luck moments then, basically, that got the breakthrough for them. If it was like a couple of degrees different on the deflection, it wouldn't have gone the way it did. I think, it's just one of those dumb luck moments where you can't really do anything about it. When you watch it happen, it's like it goes in slow motion and it's just painful to watch because you know where it's going the whole time, and it's just slowly going in, and it's just you feel that that sinking feeling just coming down with you. It's just hate it. It's like the Harry Maguire deflection against Everton when they got like a last minute equaliser that I thought probably got wrongly ruled out, and we just sat there just like, for God's sakes, it's literally the last kick of the game, and Harry Maguire has deflected it in, and we went from winning this game to drawing this game. I don't actually know, was it? No, I think it was we were drawing the game and we could have ended up losing it. I think it was going to be like a last minute loss or something, but VAR saved us. And everyone was just up in arms about it. They were just like, why did you rule that out? Something to do with like the goalkeeper was put off by something. I don't even know why it got ruled out, but mental stuff. It's Bournemouth can't be underestimated. I do like that. Brooks is so good. Um, you know what? I think Bournemouth is one of those teams where a lot of people write them off because they think, but it's just little Bournemouth. They've got like a championship team. I think as long as you might have one or two, proper Premier League quality footballers in there, but it's like Leeds. If you have a good enough system or a system in place that plays a style of football that sees you pick up points in the Premier League, you can have a championship team for a while because that Leeds team is a championship side with one or two Prem players in it. They had that the whole time they were up, the whole time, and you could see it at times where if the system becomes irrelevant or the game plan becomes irrelevant for Leeds, they looked average. And last season they were doomed to relegation. And to be fair, we are watching them struggle, really, really struggle in the championship of all places. So I think Bournemouth, if let's say they don't have anything special to say as far as their game plan is concerned, I think they're in trouble themselves. But fair plays to them. They found a way, to play. They found their groove, and they're doing well for themselves. Um, they're great. They're great. Oh, I mean, I have something similar to Frosties, but not Frosties, but they're just chocolate coated instead, which isn't really saying much because most of them not even coated. There's barely any chocolate on them. Bournemouth are coasting. I see what you did there because, coastline team, coastline town, coastline city, they're coasting. So they did that. Even if you weren't actually joking by that, but you know what? They do all right. They do all right. I think that's probably good enough for a team to get by in the Premier League. Is just to say, well, they do okay. Um, oh, Loughborough Spurs trophy to eat. Spurs trophy to eat them out of. Um, no one's pre-season trophy is ever going to be as cool as our Asian Cup pre-season trophy that we won against Liverpool when we battered them 4-0. It literally was a stadium. The stadium was the trophy, the cup in the middle, but then you had a little like light up fan. There was a light up fan on it, right? That was flashing different colors. I was just like, I don't care about the design of the stadium or the trophy. The fact that it's got a fan on it and it glows up different colors, fuck yes. Give me more of that. See Jack Harrison's on his way to Everton. It should be an okay signing for Everton. I mean, nothing too special. I mean, it's just your sort of your average Premier League footballer to me. You're very, very average. Nothing too special. But then again, Sean Dyche, he can seemingly polish a turd most instances. It's like Everton, played against Fulham and looked like they were doing a better job of the game than Fulham. But Fulham, make a couple subs and then, quick knockout blow, and that was it. But I think Sean Dyche should do okay with Everton. I think a lot of people where they've got Everton insta relegated. I don't think it's going to be as easy or as simple as that for Everton. But yeah, unfortunate for West Ham to not hold on to a point there. Brighton, obviously, as comfortable as you like against Luton Town. Solly March opened the scoring, so 1-0 at half time. Couple subs then came through. João Pedro doubling the lead from the penalty spot. Then we had Morris scoring one back late in the game. Could have said, well, okay, that's interesting. Maybe they might turn the game on its head a bit. Maybe go for a late flurry. Perhaps nick a second goal and rescue a point. About 3 minutes later, Adingra scored Brighton's third, and then Evan Ferguson in the 95th minute just basically puts the final nail on the coffin. So rough start to the Premier League for Luton Town, but I wouldn't say they were too downright awful. But I think as far as we're concerned, I think there's a lot of sides that are going to find Brighton a bit of a shock. I think this, some of these newly promoted teams will find Brighton a bit of a shock to the system, because they play much better football than you'd expect from a team of Brighton's caliber. So obviously, hard luck. Luton, Everton versus Fulham. That game finished 1-0. Relatively. I think it looked dull when looking from the outside in. Nothing really too much to scream home about or shout home about. Goal scorer D. Cordova Reed, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Cordova Reed, was subbed on in the 46th minute before scoring in the 73rd, assisted by Andres Pereira, former United lad, and big ups to him. And aside from that, nothing else really happened. That was literally it. Sheffield United versus Crystal Palace, for me, bottom of the table, rooted 20th place, not going to move from there. Well, I say not going to move from there. They're not even there yet. They're currently sat, where is it? 17th. So they lost, but they're still not bottom of the table. Obviously, Luton, Burnley, and Aston Villa sit below them. But Crystal Palace, not too bad, actually. Not too bad of a performance. They could have perhaps scored quite a fair few more goals than what the scoreline suggests. And not only that, but it was also an away performance. So a big showing, big showing from Crystal Palace. Plenty of attempts, plenty of possession. A lot of set pieces there. Barely any saves, literally one save from the Palace keeper, and their keeper made 7 saves. So you can understand the story, right? The story of the game, complete control, and relatively, you could say perhaps a comfortable 1-0 for Crystal Palace. So Sheffield United, probably the worst performing team in the transfer market, and the most ill-prepared for the Premier League season. And they've started off, fail to prepare to fail, Sheffield United. I think those guys are just swell with, just heading straight back down to the Championship, get them parachute payments going. To cap off the day there was Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Obviously 5-1, Tonali. Tonali scored in the 6th minute. Diaby in the 11th. Isak in the 16th. So it was very sort of exchanging blows, exchanging exchanging hammer blows. Tyrone Mings gets injured, picks up an injury. Pau Torres comes on, so this is his first official Premier League game. Then halftime happened, right? So 2-1 in favour of Newcastle. We're thinking, okay, so quite a relatively competitive game. Aston Villa, they could do something here. They could do something here. Yuri Tillemans comes on for Leon Bailey in the 46th minute. So essentially, halftime substitution, Yuri Tillemans comes on. Isak scores in the 58th minute. Then the chances start coming in abundances. So, okay, chance after chance after chance. But these weren't like, they're half chances, while you take a shot from distance or half yard, it gets deflected or something. Like, it's none of that. Like, you sit there and you say, how the hell have Aston Villa not conceded from there? How have they not conceded from there? It felt like that for the whole second half. Every time Newcastle attacked, it looked like they should have scored from the chance that they created. It was that crazy. Callum Wilson came on in the 68th minute, replacing Isak, and then scored, I think, 9 minutes later in the 77th minute. Harvey Barnes, who assisted him. So 2 substitutes combining together. And then later on, in the 91st minute, again, 2 substitutes combining. This time, Harvey Barnes scoring a goal assisted by Murphy. Jacob Murphy. Fairly sound lad, that guy actually is, Murphy. It looks like a right dickhead, but he's actually quite swell. He's actually quite a nice bloke. Um, and then Anderson coming on for Tonali in the 92nd minute. That is essentially the end of the game. But literally, someone called the police because there was bloody murder up in the northeast of the country. And Aston Villa, I think Unai Emery's probably going to spend the whole of this week's training just absolutely bricking it for this next game. As to who Aston Villa play next, I'm just going to find out real quick. They play Everton next at home, so I guess you could say, look, if you want a team that's not going to cause problems for your defence and just score with every chance that they get, probably Everton might be a sound opponent to go up against to really spare some of your blushes. So I think Unai Emery should probably be breathing a little sigh of relief there. But you never know. Maybe Sean Dyche has got a super master plan up his sleeve that he's just going to absolutely waltz all over Aston Villa for the second game week. But to be fair, look, Newcastle, credit where credit's due. Those guys, the best performance thus far this weekend. The best performance. And I think Brighton's probably the close second. Aside from that, no one else. I think Manchester City, their game was just played in third gear. They just do a professional job. But you want to talk about explosive game, a team that looks really dangerous. Newcastle have they've bared their teeth to the league, and everyone's quaking in their boots. I'll read a few comments out before we address these Sunday games. Great player, Jack Harrison. In fact, Everton have conceded the most Premier League goals in history. It probably helps the fact that they've been in the Premier League one of the longest times as well. So they managed to survive in the Premier League all this time, all the while conceding goals for fun. So Mancini has resigned from Italy. Yeah, I saw that just popping up. Sort of a flash thing. I don't know. I think Italy's a strange one because they've got players good enough to sort of get into big tournaments. They've got players to do it, but for some reason they seem to underachieve every time. But until they face England, then obviously they get a free pass. Get a free pass, have some free goals, happy days. Is that to go to Saudi? I don't actually know. Maybe he's got an offer from Saudi. I've not looked into that. Saw that earlier on Mama Flossie, but I'm not sure what happens. Time for him to go. Quite possibly. I don't really know. I think it's one of those that we're not going to know until later on, until someone clarifies it. Not sure Saudi are involved. Don't quote me there. I think there's a lot of contacts at Saudi. Saudi are doing a lot of talking to a lot of people, so I think we can't rule Saudi out from any conversation regarding football entities. We saw Bournemouth have 6 points last season, and we was wrong. To be fair, we were, and I think it was, look, they conceded 9 at Anfield, and everyone was just like, right, okay, yeah, Bournemouth, happy days, see you later, goodbye, enjoy the championship. And that didn't happen. It literally, Gary O'Neill came in. I think Scott Parker was not going to do many wonders, because I think he went off to Belgium and got sacked there very quickly. But yeah, I think Gary O'Neill came in and the ship steadied very, very quickly, and they just solidified themselves, stuck with a plan that worked, and yeah, hey presto, pick up some 3 points here and there, pick up an extra point at some tough games, and do that, do the basics, so seek to survive, and you'll swim. It's happy days. So I think that's credit to Gary O'Neill for drilling that Bournemouth team into getting the basics done right and doing them well. They're great. That's what Spurs said when they won a Tiger Cup against Lion City Sailors. Man, imagine that. These guys literally had to come off of an oil rig to play against Tottenham Hotspur. Imagine that. There was another bad joke of mine was spotted. Oh, man. I like him, to be honest. Jack Harrison runs at people and takes them on. I suppose you could say that. I mean, I think Dan James is sort of somebody a little bit similar. I mean, the guy's got next to no quality about him, but he just runs. It's like the road runner. Meep meep pew. It's just a road runner. The guy's got loads and loads of pace, but he just runs at people. Like he doesn't try to like outskill a player or dribble past a man by doing a little cheeky step over or like a little cheeky Ronaldo chop or quick change of the direction or body feint or wrong foot a player and then send back the other way. None of that. It's just so simple. It's just a vanilla play. It's just a vanilla pacey winger. Just runs at people. Just straight. I suppose he's not quite got the old school Rashford factor where you don't run past players, you run into players, and you hope that the referee feels bad enough for you to award you a foul and say, "There you go, there you go. There's a free kick for you." That silent car advert gets me reaching for the remote every time. The silent car advert. I'll tell you one car advert that really grinds my gears. Right, it's the we sell a car to we buy any car. That one to that freaking song, right? That disco song. I don't even want to give an example of it. Like I'll literally flip my monitor if I start singing that. It's like the guy who is just sat in the car and it's just like, yeah, it's Friday then. And then he starts getting out, starts doing a jig, but then we buy in the car decide to do the same thing. It's just like, my God, shut up. Absolutely shut up. Really, really annoying. Yeah, you might be right. Mancini might become manager of Saudi Arabia. Talks of a 3-year deal. Lots and lots and lots of money. I hope Saudi contacts Southgate. The same way, Big T, that Saudi Arabia kind of know that Harry Maguire is a no-go zone. They probably look at Southgate the same way. So, yeah, as much as we'd like that to be true, by looks of it, we might not be so lucky. We might not be getting so lucky with that. We can hope and pray. We can and beg for 80, but 18 million a year. I'd leave Italy as well. Yeah, but 18 million a year, I would leave absolutely everywhere if that was what I was getting. As long as it's not something that's completely inhumane, then I'm all for it. Tony, I'd be running a water to get there before I even packed. You'd swear. I'll tell you what. Get 18 million a year position for something, whatever it is, by swimming from Gibraltar to Morocco, right? Just swimming non-stop, just to get that position. Damn, that would be. I mean, I'd literally swim a couple yards out to sea from Gibraltar and I'd just drown. Saudi knows Southgate would want to take Harry Maguire with him. Let's face it, he can't pass as a Saudi player. They'll probably keep him in a cage next to the tiger. Next to the caged tigers, mate. Yeah, just be like, mate, we can poke and prod these tigers, but don't prod Harry Maguire. Don't prod him. That animal was built different. That's why he's joining us, Tony. Although West Ham can muck up a deal. I don't even know if it's West Ham. I mean, Harry Maguire is literally. It's funny actually because West Ham fans will look at the Harry Maguire deal and say, "Oh, how have we cocked this deal up?" And I'm just like, "Mate, come look at the United fans. We're pissed off with our club for mucking up the deal, mate. We're literally just like, bro, how is this club okay with Harry Maguire not leaving?" And it's just like it really feels like that. They're not bothered. They're really not bothered. And some people say, look, it's because they want to sort out the replacement first. But you don't need to do that. If you're a proactive club, you don't need to worry about signing someone first before you sell somebody. Just get on with it. Do your job. I might phone Saudi and tell them I'm willing to go manage a side for 1 million full stop. They can have me as many years as they want me. I'll tell you what, Big T, the funny thing is, right, is that you can literally make a fake resume, have it so that they don't check the legitimacy or the backgrounds of your resume. Go get a job there, work for 1 week, get sacked, but you still would have been paid more money from that 1 week of work than you would have earned across 10 years of working an office job. Literally 10 years just cut off in 1 week. That's madness. That's actually madness, man. Like, it is actually hilarious. So you could literally, you know, get 1 week's worth of paycheck out in Saudi Arabia, get sacked, and you'll be set for life. It's actually hilarious. But not even that. If you get sacked, you get the severance pay as well. So you get even more than that. You can retire because you negotiated a long deal, right? Or even for a 2-3 year deal at a certain valuation. Just get sacked in the first week. They'll give you the severance pay to see off the rest of your contract. Just retire. That Tonali goal was class. Yeah, man. I think Tonali, the buy of the season so far. I think what Tonali does is like last season, you look at the midfield of Newcastle and you think Bruno Guimaraes, he gets injured, then what? You add Tonali into that, it's just like, right, so Bruno Guimaraes could potentially miss a game or two, right? Still got Tonali in that midfield. You've still got a player very competent and very capable of, controlling the pace of a game, controlling all different elements of a game, which is a very, very lucrative feat for Newcastle United. Yeah, looking that way, minus Villa will destroy Villa. Everton, I mean. Villa will destroy Villa. Now, Villa will destroy Everton. I mean, maybe not destroy them. I could probably see that being like a 3-1 result there. I think because obviously being at Villa Park, it's obviously home advantage and all of that. But I think what you have is that Villa will still be ruining a little bit from the first game. So I think you might see a shaky moment or two. Maybe, doubt creeps in once or twice. Maybe Villa score first, Everton get an equaliser. Half time comes around. So let's say it's 1-1 at half time. I think Villa come out a bit more confident and see out the game, get 2 extra goals to see out the game 3-1. I mean, imagine if it does literally turn into a 3-1 result. Everton were hard done by VAR official drinking his tea at the time. Yeah. I mean, VAR, I see people saying, look, VAR is, the problem's not VAR, it's the people using it. And it's just like, but that's the reason why VAR shouldn't be here. It's because the people who are using it were incompetent before, but you've just given them a tool that makes incompetency much more highlighted, but way more blatant. So essentially what you've done is you've said, well, look, we're going to take a bad officiating team, but we're going to make them look a lot worse by giving them more tools where it's just like, oh, so this tool should mean that you can't possibly get this decision wrong. But they get the decisions wrong regardless. So it looks even worse. It's like they're not like doing anything, say, different, but it's actually baffling. It is actually baffling. It's just like, I'm all for scrapping VAR and just going back to the way it was. Just go back to the way it was before. I know a lot of people say, oh, look at all the points differentiations for clubs that didn't have VAR, but it's just like, well, you say that, but look at all the other potential outcomes with VAR in other elements of the game, where VAR's it's like some people, perhaps players, are slightly more disciplined in doing certain things because VAR's a thing, whereas you can abuse your pace as a player by running, in an offside position whilst, flogging the linesman. So the linesman is checking down the line to see if someone's offside, but you can warp or distort the perspective of said linesman with a certain run or something, or the timing on a run. So you're offside, but no one's going to check it, and the linesmen don't know it. So it's like you can kind of cheat the system. And I think the funny thing is that it used to be officials were the talking point, like after games and everything. Officials were the talking point. It's just like, oh, I can't believe the referee got this wrong with that decision. I thought that was offside. Oh, I thought this was offside. I thought this and that. Now it's just like, well, referees are the talking point. Like, it used to be referees were a talking point. Referees are the talking point. And it's like most people say, well, this game was bad because the referees were bad. I don't really recall, apart from like the Barcelona Chelsea, Barcelona. Well, I think it's pretty much most games that involve Barcelona back in the old days with paying off referees and stuff. Um, I suppose that was the last time we really had officials be spoken about in such controversial terms. Um, so we ended up calling Barcelona UEFA Lona, but the whole thing with VAR is just it's highlighted just how bad it, rather than improving VAR, rather than improving officiating, it's actually just highlighted how bad the officiating actually is. So the FA should be looking at that and going, oh Christ almighty, how have we messed this up? It's like Lee Mason with drawing lines that were not drawn properly or forgetting to draw lines. How about just use normal technology where it's automatically assimilated for you, where it will collect the data of the defending player that's furthest back. It draws a line, and then the screen pans in to see where or how far offside the offside infringing player actually is, and you can see what part of the body's actually crossed that line or crossed this little window pane. It's like, oh, so his leg was offside from this perspective, from this angle, rather than someone having to draw lines and figure out angles and all of that. I mean, why don't the Premier League use that? It looks so flawless in judging an offside decision when you just use that. But instead, they have to draw lines. I mean, it's like VAR, VAR. Right, but we're not actually going to use VAR efficiently here. We're going to make this difficult. Why? It doesn't make any sense. VAR was horrible this weekend. Great start, yeah. Yeah. And to be honest, I think it's not just the fact that VAR is going to continue making horrible decisions. It's watch the next week. The decisions that were a thing of last week, they're going to be different this week. You watch. You watch. Not even a check on Rice, nothing. VAR has been horrible, full stop, 100%. I don't like a big T, I'll be honest. Yeah. That's mad, Yeti. I know the ref had no view, but VAR officials, what the fuck? Yeah. I'll tell you what, VAR officials that like to tell the referee to go look at an incident on the pitch where it's just like, well, it's an isolated incident. It just happens in every game, but referees will pick and choose, or the VAR officials will pick and choose when to tell the referee, now go look at the monitor. And it's just like, it makes no sense. You're judging a certain aspect of the game, but someone else is in your ear saying, oh, but I saw this. You should go look at this. Like, shut up. No. Officiate the game. Not be political, not be a politician on a fucking football pitch. Seriously. Well, Phil Schofield on it. I mean, that Phil Schofield, I mean, bloody nonsense adverts and all of that jazz. Like, nah. VAR works as long as you have the right people doing it, not these idiots. Yeah, precisely. It is literally just, it's just the people doing it, you know? Very dodgy. The fact that on the match of the day, all pundits are mentioning it, it's odd, yet 100%. The car advert with no sound, Trade UK or something, that makes me think the volume has been knocked off. I'll tell you what, there are some adverts out there that are really, really proper, like basket case sort of adverts or something. Comes down to the money. Yep. Best advert or spoof is Bentley, the fella off The Apprentice with his Ford Transit. You have to watch it. It's funny as. It's quite a few funny adverts out there. I'll give some marketers, marketing people their dues. I'll pay them some dues. I think 12-0 on Everton will take a mulligan. I think 12-0 to Aston Villa and Everton will just cancel the club. They'll probably, like, the fans will probably leave Goodison. No, not Goodison. They'll leave. They'll go leave Villa Park. They'll take the train back up to Everton, to Liverpool, to Merseyside, and they'll go find where the new stadium's being built. they'll go knock down the foundations, just like screw this, cancel the club, fold it. You know, they'll just be like, blow up the stadium, blow up the club, blow up the club. And we lose 12-0. What's the point? Need X players if you're going to use it. I think it's just what you need is somebody that's got common sense. Just somebody with common sense, and that is it. Common sense, no complications. You know, whether you want to also add incorruptible. Yeah, it's just it is what it is, really. But yeah, I think just people with common sense should be enough to do to manage. I agree totally. The rest have gained from extra money for viewing it. Yeah, just like the FA. Yeah, FA incompetency. It's like the FA. What does the FA stand for? It stands for fuck all. Fuck all going on up here. They keep playing when you're offside. It's pathetic. Do your job at the time. Player could get injured running for an offside ball. It's like with the bits where they, it's like the linesman who's like, "Yeah, this is offside. This is offside. Are you going to put the flag up?" No, I'm just going to wait for them to play out for an extra 5 minutes before I stick the flag up. What's that about? Why? Just why? If it's offside, right? Flag it. If you know the linesman, right? If the linesman, the official's there to make decisions. If the linesman decides, flag up, it's offside. Like VAR could look at it and say, well, actually, it wasn't offside. But that's the point of the linesman being there. It's an official. They can say, if they think it's offside, they call it. Like, it's as simple as that. But these people are just like, well, VAR can help me out if I'm getting it wrong. Well, no, just put the flag up if you think it's offside. Do what you used to do that you don't have the balls to do now. Doesn't make any sense to me. Each captain should get 3 max requests for an incident to be looked at. It has to go on the big screen and be discussed. I'll tell you where they one of the ideas that a lot of people are trying to vouch for that I just think that they don't want to do is mic up the referees. I know they do the player cams things, but notice they'll only ever do that for a pre-season game or a friendly game. They won't do it for an actual competitive game because the stakes are up. The stakes are up, and you could get one dodgy conversation, one dodgy chat, one dodgy line being said by anybody that's an official or player or anything like that. Straight away, the footballing world will explode. So I think there's probably going to be quite a significant pushback from referees getting mic'd up in that instance from the FA. But I'd like to see something, just something be done. I actually think VAR is a part of betting and helps the bookies. Well, I'll tell you what, VAR helps to solidify. It helps to solidify understanding what is going to happen on a football pitch. And it's just like, well, you can tell what's going to happen, right? You can just tell. You can see that the judgment is not going to be correct, and you can say, oh, this guy's going to get it wrong, and you watch him go and get it wrong, and it's just like, well, how do we know this? You notice that the angles they show are always on the piss, or technology just get it right. It's like, look at every other country that has VAR, right? Notice with their VARs for offsides, right? They have a line. They don't have a line. They have a wall. They stick a wall on the pitch that's exactly in line with the defender. The attacker can be seen if he is offside or not, even by a nanometer, because his body part is in front of the defender. So it's clear, right? There's no dispute. You can't say, oh, well, that could be offside, that might not be offside. It's clear. You see it. Is there a body part that's in front of this wall? Is there a part of the attacker that's legal, right, to judge it offside? Is there a part of the body that's past this wall or through this wall? Yes or no? If yes, offside. If no, not offside. Simple. But rather than that, our country likes to draw lines from scratch and speculate. They like to speculate. It makes no sense. Um, I've lost loads of bets based on VAR and dodgy decisions. Hot Fuzz, good show, but time for me to go. Early start in the morning. No worries. Early doors, thank you very much for tuning in, buddy. Go have yourself a good night's sleep and enjoy the new week. Enjoy Monday. I'm sure you'll be back online and ready to throw all the shade and all the banter at me and all fellow United folks if we get embarrassed on first day of the season, because you never know. New manager bounce for Wolves, even though Wolves kind of look like a lost cause at the moment. But yeah, big ups to you, man. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate the support. Obviously, good night to you. Good night, early doors. Yeah, get a big tea. Big stuff. Doing a couple of shorts tomorrow before the Man U game. Yep, cool. I'll be sure to check those out. You can use that offside rule time to waste. Just keep the ball. Yeah, pretty much. TC early doors should be on the big screen, like Big T said. Ivan Toney could do VR whilst he's serving his ban. Not sure I would trust him though. He'd probably be doing the most amount of bets out of everyone ever. I'll tell you what, it would be really hilarious, right, if it comes out that the FA is actually involved with betting, or the PFA, right? If the PFA come out and it's just like, oh, they've been doing bets with the officials. So a player got banned for betting by the governing body that themselves are managing bets. That would literally be the biggest can of worms opened in the history of sport. That, like, imagine that. Everybody else that has served a ban for betting or being involved with betting scandals, if it were to come out that the PFA or the FA would been housing odds or bets or having communications with people within the governing bodies, relaying information surrounding bets and stuff. Like it's like, well, the governing bodies banned people for this. It's like the Tories in the government. It's like the COVID lockdowns and shit. Oh, everyone's got to stay indoors, keep 2 meter distance, right? But with all the cameras turned off, we're gonna go party. We're gonna go to a party. No masks, no distance keeping, nothing like that. Seriously, it'll be hilarious if I mean, it'll be hilarious at first, right? But then you'll actually weigh up the seriousness of the nature of it, and you just be like, the sport I know is dead. It's completely dead. There's no life to it. Zero. It's dead. It's gone. Stop watching football now, because the whole thing could be fixed across the board. So like the whole sport would just die. It would be mental. It wouldn't shock me at all if it ain't all fixed. Imagine that if all of it is just fixed. Imagine that if all of it was fixed. Every game you've ever watched until the money got into things, right? Until it all became about the money. All the way back to then, every game you've supported your club for was all just a fixed result. Imagine how wronged you would feel. How wronged you would feel. It's like Arsenal fans thinking, oh, well, we could have won the Premier League last season. Even they would turn around and just be like, but everything was fixed. My God. So a 15-point swing wasn't actually a 15-point swing. It was just part of the storyline to fit the narrative that Man City are just too strong, because it keeps everyone invested into thinking, oh, Arsenal, they'll go into the summer and they could catch Manchester City next season though, because everyone's going to be intrigued because of the fairy tale started. Let's milk this storyline a bit. Lot of money in it. You are just trying to find an excuse for holding 7. Mate, I'll tell you what. I'd like to find the story writer or the script writer who decided to write, you know what, I fancy this year 2023 is going to be the year that Manchester United lose 7-0 to Liverpool. I've always wanted this to happen, you know. I've really been looking forward to it. I'd love to see the depression on all the Man United fans' faces. Just imagine that, like the script writer for that. Like, man would be hunted down and he would be turned into a rug and laid on someone's doorstep somewhere, perhaps. Don't know how brutal people want to be with that. Just going to quickly cover the Sunday games and a quick run up to the United game. So obviously, start of today, Brentford 2, Tottenham 2. I thought this game could go one of two ways. See the Tottenham closely win the game, or Brentford will, smash Tottenham. It looked like that could have been the case. It did. Christian Romero, fantastic delivery from James Maddison. Christian Romero, solid header. Unfortunately, got subbed off straight afterwards because perhaps concussion problems with that, a few risks. Referee was card happy in the first half, issued 4 yellow cards for Spurs players, including Ryan Mason and some bloke who looks at a screen on the touchline. So Mbomo gets a penalty, which I thought was a bit harsh. He converts from the spot. Visa then also gets a second goal, deflection. A bit unlucky for Spurs again there. But I thought there was a few times where Spurs in possession looked quite good. They looked relatively comfortable, but defensively you could see there's a few problems that needs to be addressed, as well as the final third needs to be addressed, because Richarlison, as much as he might be able to contribute, Spurs are going to need more, right? Brentford away, of course, tough game, tough away game, very tough place to go and start your season. But Spurs, you can tell, need more. They are going to need more from the attacking output, because I think as far as defence is concerned, you might be able to sign another centre-back, but I think there's still elements to that Spurs team that are going to be problematic, and the challenge where it changes from week to week. You might get lucky one week with one set play or passage of play. The next week you won't be so lucky. Emerson Royale, obviously, a sumptuous strike. Seen quite late, spotted quite late by the goalkeeper for Brentford. I can't remember what their goalkeeper's name was. Was it Flecken? Basically, Flecken spotted the ball late from Emerson Royale. Good finish. 11 added minutes, by the way, for the first half. I'm actually kind of a fan of this extra added time, by the way. I think it's like, well, good luck to the time wasters, because you're going to have those minutes racked up against you. So, it's going to be interesting to see how much the extra added time is going to influence the final results. But as a neutral, as people watching from the outside in, I was going to say, well, look, this is going to set up for an explosive second half. Second half happened. Brentford disappeared, completely disappeared. Like they were a shadow of their former selves in the first half. As Man United fans slept with Liverpool fans' wife. Someone should be burying that chance. I can't remember which chance that was. I think there was probably a few cases where they should have buried chances. Well, it's time to say good night, great stream hoppers. Thank you very much, Mama Flossie. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have yourself a lovely night, and have a fantastic Monday. Obviously, I will be back on Monday night for the watch along for the United game against Wolves. Hopefully, that is a good result, a positive result for us. Right, long and dirty. Good night. But yeah, I think I was thinking that there was going to be a just winner in this, but I thought second half control was going back to Spurs, and I thought, look, Spurs probably going to see this out. They're going to see this out. But they're going to see it out with a win. They should get an extra goal, the third goal in the second half. I think that's what should happen. That's what they should do. That didn't happen. That didn't materialise, and ended up being 2-2. And it's, first half fantastic to watch. Second half was painful. Was absolutely painful to watch. It was literally all Spurs, and even then, Spurs just weren't able to be clinical enough to convert any chances. Chelsea versus Liverpool. Um, I think Liverpool were probably the favourites going to this. You could call this the Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero 2.0 custody for Dominic Mysterio match here. But this time it's custody for Moises Caicedo. Whoever wins it gets the custody of the player. But Chelsea look like they need Caicedo just to stay relevant, whereas Liverpool looked like they needed Caicedo to apparently go from being a team that barely gets top four to actually being favourites to win the title. Yeah, figure that one out on behalf of the Liverpool fan base. Don't know how one player seems to turn your fortunes around like that much. But you know what? Chelsea, much, much better performance than I was expecting them to. Much, much better. Had better possession than Liverpool. Even Stevens on the chances worked Alisson a few times, a few heart in the mouth moments for Liverpool fans, I thought. More proactive in attack and much more direct than Liverpool were. Liverpool, I think, they've got talent in abundance in the final third, but I think that midfield, if they're not finding cutting edge passes to create those clear cut chances, then the play can switch. You're then on the defense. You're then having to run back to your own goal. I think we saw it once or twice in this game. Alexis McAllister was basically the deepest midfielder in this game for Liverpool, the deepest line midfielder. He was not tracking runners very, very well. He wasn't. That's going to be a big problem. Liverpool need to sign a DM. They've got to, as a bare minimum, because look, even if Chelsea don't punish you for not tracking their runners, someone else will. Newcastle, the runners from deep. Imagine Newcastle could strip that Liverpool team apart. In Man United, could have a runner from deep. Mason Mount could run from deep, could strip that Liverpool team apart if they're not tracking the runners. Manchester City could have a field day with that team. Arsenal could. It's where if you've got midfielders that are not covering the defensive approach or the attacking approach well, they're not containing the extra presence of threat. It's like as soon as the attacking team stick an extra man or an extra number or two pressing onto the box from deep, the runs from deep, that midfielder's not tracking that run, it's not seeing it, no danger. They've got to cover another 5-10 yards to fix where that midfielder's made the mistake. This Liverpool defence cannot do that. They've got to have the midfield cover because they are threadbare and they are very exposed. The times where the DM was not covering defence last season, it was an embarrassing scoreline for Liverpool. It was. They lost and they lost badly, right? Even with set pieces, the disorganisation sometimes that they had from set pieces. Whether that's going to be another problem this season for Liverpool, I don't know. I'd imagine not. But we just don't know. But I think Chelsea, I think a lot of people would have written Chelsea off this game and would have said, well, look, Liverpool are just Liverpool. They're going to come in. It's Mauricio Pochettino. Liverpool should take this game quite comfortably. But no, I think Chelsea were actually the better team in this game. Contrary to the popular belief. I think Chelsea were the better team. They created the better chances. They looked the more dangerous across 90 minutes than Liverpool did, starting the game in good fashion. I think the second half was probably the most telling of it, where Liverpool just kept being penned into their own box. So, a fair result. I said it would have been a 2-2 draw, but, not too far off. I mean, two disallowed goals for offsides. I thought Liverpool So the moment of collapse, complete collapse, when Chilwell got that disallowed goal, literally minutes after the first the equalising goal from Disasi. Um, which, by the way, is interesting. Disasi was the French Maguire. I thought he put in a performance that was much, much better than we've ever seen Harry Maguire put in. So I'm interested to see if the people are still saying that Axel Disasi is still the French Maguire. Personally, I think he might be writing himself a good case to say that he's not. But yeah, fair result, I think, at the end of the day, based off of just how good the chances were or how big the moments of those games were. I thought, as far as Liverpool are concerned, Chelsea lucky not to go 2-0 down, but Liverpool equally as lucky to not go 2-1 down after Chelsea basically just flipped momentum on its head. Finishing point for the show before I wrap things up. Manchester United versus Wolves tomorrow night. Wolves looking a bit of disarray in the transfer window, managerial change or switch up a week before starting your season after a full pre-season training for another system. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good for Wolves. But will there be a new manager bounce? That's I think where we're currently at. Is there going to be the new manager bounce that we seemingly see from every club that seems to play against Man United? Are we going to see the new manager bounce? Personally, I think we shouldn't. We shouldn't see them because this team looks like it's. I feel like this game should be in the palm of United's hand, regardless of what's going on the Wolves front. I felt like this should be a 3-0. I think they've not got Jimenez anymore. They've not got their, midfield maestros anymore. Ruben Neves isn't there. Moutinho's not there. I think Nunes is still there. I think he is. But even so, I think Moutinho and Neves were, big decisive factor for Wolves being competitive in Premier League battles in the midfield. But I think that they're going to be quite lacking this season. I think they've lost a lot of their key tools, and where they've got no tools to be well equipped for this season, I think I'll put them down as one of my three clubs to get relegated. And I think the mood in that squad, in that dressing room, is not going to be feeling very premium or audacious or ambitious. They're not going to be going into this game at Old Trafford thinking, yeah, we're going to win, guys. We're going to cause an upset. Yeah, let's go. They could be going, shit, right, okay. Well, hope for the best. Just do the best you can do, and let's see how far we can get. And that's literally probably the best it's going to get. And I think, I might be wrong. Maybe it's full-time whistle Monday night and Wolves have won the game 2-1 or something. And we are, United fan base might as well just, call it a day on the season because there's absolutely no reason why Wolves should win this game. There's no reason. There's absolutely none. And this is one of the first times in a long time. And some people might say, oh, the new manager bounce. Oh, yeah, that's the reason why we lose. No. As much as I complain about new manager bounce, there shouldn't be a reason why you'd lose a game ever. You should see a slightly more competitive team or a team that has slightly lifted spirits or a team that's doing something new, that fresh, that, manager of United or Ten Hag's not prepared for. But I think with Ten Hag, what he does quite well is he doesn't really try to plan to cater to what the other team's doing. He just tries to play the football that we want to play. Like they have to adjust to us, basically. And I think with a threadbare Wolverhampton squad, it's going to be problems, man. It's going to be, it should be a struggle for them. I know a lot of people might say, "Oh, Anana Howler incoming." To be honest, I don't even know if they're going to even be good enough to cause Anana problems. I don't know. I think personally, I think it's going to go the way of a 3-0. Probably one of the few clean sheets perhaps we might get this season, but I just don't understand where Wolverhampton's Wanderers would be competent enough or combatant enough to actually get a result across the line against United. I think maybe they'll get a lucky goal or something, but aside from that, I can't see how they'd easily win this game. Um, would Arsenal swap Havertz for Richarlison? Probably not. I think some fan, oh, I say some fans. I think most fans wouldn't because everyone's living up Kai Havertz's arse. So I mean, yeah, I just don't think that they want to do that. Even if Richarlison had Kane's goal scoring output, they wouldn't, because apparently their fan base think that Kai Havertz is the second coming of Dennis Bergkamp. They think he's prime RVP. They think he's got the techers that Kaka has. You know, probably not. Chelsea look better under Poch, yeah, and that's the thing. I like what Poch does with teams like what Chelsea have, because he makes them go from a team that on paper, write them off, man. They're not going to do anything. Takes them from that perception and changes it so it's like, well, Chelsea are a very tough team to face. They've got some, got some underrated talents in that team that could do some damage. And I think that's probably what he's going to do with this Chelsea team. He's not going to go and achieve many glories. He's not going to achieve much in the way of getting this team winning trophies as such. But just putting a bit of respect on Chelsea's name, where they are a formidable opponent, to the very least, is probably what's going to be a bit of a win for Chelsea fan base, that they can actually go into games and not think, oh, I wonder how many goals we'll lose by today. Like, it's just going to be like, well, let's figure out how Poch is going to get this team beating our opponents today. And just having a bit of belief in the Chelsea camp again. Liverpool need to sign defenders. They need to sign another centre-back at least to partner up with Virgil van Dijk and a DM or two. So personally, probably another 3 signings that they need. You need to, 2 DMs, 1 to start, 1 for depth, and then another centre-back, because Joe Gomez ain't good enough. Joel Matip, probably not very reliable, and Ibrahim Konate, if he misses out, if he gets injured or anything, Virgil van Dijk and who is becomes the new question mark there. I thought Chelsea looked good, to be honest. Yeah, they looked a lot better than many people were expecting. So fair plays to them. Cool show. 3-1 for me, United. Thank you very much, Longhaired Yeti. I think 3-1's probably a fair assessment, probably more of an accurate assessment. Have you seen the pictures of younger Varane with the same braided hairstyle as Rio Ferdinand? I haven't seen the haircut. Have you seen Sofian Amrabat with his locks of his hair that looked like proper? I think it was like 1990s pop style, pop singer type haircut that he used to have when he was back at FC20 when Ten Hag was there. But now the guy looks like. Trying to think what he looks like now. Like that sort of shiny bald head. There's probably a perfect analogy to use, or comparison to use for that, but it's not coming to mind. They're being stripped totally. You're talking about Wolves. Yep, I agree. New manager bounce works when players not happy with previous manager. The guy quit, didn't he? Yep, but I think with the mood in the team, I think sometimes having a new manager come in through the door, even if it's quite short term or a short amount of time before you play a game, a manager that comes in with some new ideas is like, right guys, come on, let's get going, let's do this, go on the training ground, play this, play like that, play this is how this is how we're going to set up, this is what we're going to do, this is the patterns we want, this is how we're going to line up defensively, this is how we're going to approach offensively. Things like that sort of get a player a bit like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, we'll do it. It could work where they execute a plan perfectly on the football pitch and they end up getting a result because of it. But then it could be, well, they try but it fails and they fall flat on their face, and belief might dry up quite quickly. But that might be the case because of lack of recruitment. And I think that's probably one of the cases that the players, I mean, if the manager's not happy with that recruitment, you can understand that if the players are looking at the same situation, going, "Well, Jesus, well, our squad's, no offense to my colleagues, my teammates here, but we're not very well equipped, are we?" Don't forget, so the right back as Trent can't defend. Um, that's what they need, but will they get him? Will they get another right back? Probably not, because Klopp. Trent Alexander-Arnold's one of Klopp's love child, so good luck to getting another right back. I think the last right back that they had that ever competed with Trent Alexander-Arnold was, I think, was it Nathaniel Klein? I think about how many seasons ago that was. Looks like early doors. I mean, geez, Amrabat. I mean, not quite, not quite. I mean, he's missing the sort of bushy beard sort of approach, but you never know. We don't know. Um, but yeah, I think that's going to wrap things up. So yeah, basically 3-0 United tomorrow night. That's what I'm hoping. But Trent is to Klopp what Maguire is to Southgate. Probably. You might be right in that in that regards. But yeah, thank yous to everyone. Going to wrap up the show now before it gets too late. We're less than an hour away from Monday, so and we're going to let everyone get off to bed in time for the start of the new week. So big ups to everybody that has tuned in. Thank you very much to everybody. Big ups to Big T, Long Haired Yeti, Mama Flossie, Early Doors, Carl Rossi, Tony Ibarra, Tony Claude Gunner TV, a baby Adeliso. Who else did we have? We had Adam Taylor. Yeah, Adam Taylor was here as well. Big ups to you as well. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in and has chatted. Big ups to everybody. Thank you ever so much for those of you who have liked the stream and who have subscribed. If we have subscribed or have any subscriptions, are we back over 75? Are we? Are we quite there? No, no one subbed this stream. Unbelievable stuff. I'm going to fold the channel now. No, I'm just joking. But seriously, thank you everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Enjoy tonight. And we'll see you again for the big one, the Manchester United watch along. Thank you very much for watching. And good night. See you tomorrow. Au revoir.